Hi, and welcome to our video. We're just going to be doing a little largemouth bass fishing here today. We're in the lower Midwest. We've got the Kayak out, fishing a relatively small body of water, and we're in the late pre-spawn going into the spawn phase. These fish are just getting ready to spawn. The water temperatures anywhere from the low to mid 50s in the early morning to upper 60s late in the day. We're kind of fishing mid-morning through mid-afternoon here, and we're just kind of going to see what happens here. We're fishing a variety of lures here. Looks like they're got a jerkbait on, or I guess that's the top water, like a Zara spook. And these fish will go in top water, even up in the upper 50-degree water temperature range if you fish it slow enough. And we'll be fishing different lures here. We'll be using a jig and trailer combination, swimming jig, even a buzz bait. There I've got a jig and pig combination on, probably 3/8 ounce. And again, we're just fishing slow, fishing these edges of these spawning flats, kind of where the ditches run up close to the flats. And we're just kind of letting the conditions dictate here, but we're fishing, basically jig fishing most of it. I'm using 6.5-foot rods for the most part, medium heavy, with most of the time I'm using 15-pound Berkley big game line, which is extremely tough. It's very inexpensive. It's amazing line for the price. I've not found a better line for the money. It's been fantastic line for me over the years. And fluorocarbon's good. I'll use that quite a bit too, but today I just got the Berkley big game on. And you see we're fishing some pretty heavy cover here. We'll just kind of see what happens. There it looks like we got a buzzbait fish. And that's a great lure. I like fishing a black buzzbait, particularly when you get these cloudy conditions, darker colored water. That darker bait seems to really trigger them a lot of times. It's something they don't see as much of as well. I think most people tend to throw white or chartreuse or a combination of the two. But I'm probably fishing that at 17-pound test. Stays up a little easier and a little less stretch in it than the 15-pound. Here's another buzzbait fish. I like fishing that dark buzzbait with the stained water and overcast conditions. And you can see here I'm fishing some shallow stuff. This is shallow, very shallow, 1 to 3 feet. And I'm on the northern end of this fishery, and it's something to really key on this time of year is the northern ends of any fishery that you're on. They warm up much faster than other parts just because of the low angle of that late spring sun. It's still pretty low angle, and it hits the northern ends of these fisheries much harder than other places, particularly along the northern banks. The northern shorelines just get pounded with the sun more, and the water along those shorelines gets it's just better protected as well. You don't get the northern winds howling on it. It's protected from the north winds. And if you got any kind of clarity to the water or visibility where the sunlight can penetrate down to the bottom, and if you got a dark bottom, that even warms the sunlight even more. So anytime you get in the north end of the lake, darker water conditions, shallow water, or dark bottom, those conditions add up to warmer water, or warming water that warms up much faster than other parts. So I tend to check those places out first, and it's surprising what the difference in water temperature can be from one end of the lake to the other. And even from the beginning of the day to the end, a lot of times there's a 10-degree difference in the temperature in the morning water versus what it is later in the day. So right now, I think I'm just fishing the swimming jig. And you can see the nice thing about the kayak fishing is that it just lets you spin around all this cover without worrying about slamming into things with your trolling motor or the side of your boat, or really worrying about anything. And you can do so stealthily. I mean, you can just slip in and out of all kinds of cover situations in a boat like that. Just exploded on it. 2-pounder, nothing huge. Good fish. So we just came up and just kind of sucked that buzz bait in. Good fish. Beautiful 4-pound. More buzzbait fish. And that's one thing to keep in mind too, is that whatever you read in a magazine, you can kind of throw right out the window. You got to let the conditions dictate, kind of what you want to do. At least that's what I do. Just because it might be early April and a lot of guys that think it's too cold yet or too early for a buzzbait, basically you got to let the fish tell you that. So, and that's what I do. You get up into these northern reaches of these fisheries that warm up much faster late in the day. If you start seeing activity along the top of the water, in the kayak, I just stick my hand in the water and you can tell kind of roughly what the water temperature is, and it's a pretty crude way to do it, but it works. And then just kind of let your bait choices go from there. But here I'm bouncing around from flipping a jig and swimming a jig to fishing topwaters, depending on the exact area there. The big key to the whole thing is the stealth factor with the kayak, is just slipping around and being able to get in and out of those places without disturbing the fish in the shallow water. Well, I want to thank you for watching our little video here, and best of luck out there in the water to you.